Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming at you live, talking about episode 9 of the anime series Shokugeki no Soma, Sen no Sara, or the Third Plate. And much as Soma was the hero, the victor of the previous episode, in this one I gotta put my money on Ishiki as being the man of the hour. This cat, he's been pretty much silent. He's been absent for the last couple of episodes, especially since Central took over. And I've been wondering what has been going on with him. You know, he is part of the Elite 10. And much as I sort of, speculated, he was keeping on the down low for fear of being under the watchful eye of Aizan and, Azami and the Elite 10 and all this kind of stuff. Knowing, this cat, he's a strategist. He is thinking 3 steps ahead of Aizan. He's thinking 3 steps ahead of Azami. He's thinking 3 steps ahead of Central. And he's thinking 3 steps ahead of Soma himself. All of the faith and the respect and the admiration that Soma has earned from Ishiki, he considers it a foregone conclusion that Soma is going to pointedly go up against Aizan in a Shokugeki. That it's a foregone conclusion that he is going to win, he is going to succeed and beat Aizan. And so, with that in mind, what do we have to do next? What is our immediate action to follow on from that? And he draws up these documents, which basically is going to lock Central into having no easy task at trying to dismantle all of these other research groups and culinary groups and everything like that, much as they, basically said they were going to do. That was the proclamation of what they intended to do under this new plan of Azami's. And so it's just so awesome that he, part and parcel with Soma's win. They have opened the floodgates for all of these different groups to be able to, go in legally and respectably to challenge members of, Central, of the Elite 10, of a whole other underling group of elites to Shokugekis in the hopes of keeping their doors open, freeing them from being closed and disbanded and all these things. Without fear, what's more, of any of the judges who will, overrule all of this stuff and be the deciding factor, being in the pockets of any of these Central-related people. All because of Soma, all because of the faith Ishiki had in Soma. And it's epic, and I love it. Now, with that said, we do find that some of these underling elites are wiping the floor with some of these other, culinary groups and everything like that. We see several losses in a row, one after the other. So it's going to be no easy task for any of these research facilities and things like that to match necessarily these elitists that are part of Central and to keep their doors from being closed, permanently. But, for our main characters and everything like that, just the fact that Soma succeeded against Aizan, he went in there, he wiped the floor with him, and he still got the grin on his face. It's enough to bolster them. And hopefully that will send resounding shockwaves within Totsuki Academy's community of students and alumnus and everything like that to say, hey, we got a chance. We have a fighting chance. And I even love, part and parcel with that is like Takumi. He's mouthing off against one of these underlings, Rentaro or Ren, who by the end of the episode we see he's going to be going up against Ryo because Alice basically was like, oh, I'm not playing along with you guys, bite me. And then, of course, Ryo gets ticked off. He, Rentaro has some dismissive words or whatever like that. You lazy, whatever he said. And Ryo just loses it and totally amps through the roof, and he's going to have at this guy. And so that's the next big thing that's coming, and I can't wait to see that, of course. But, I mean, Ishiki, he was the man in this episode, putting all this documentation to work for the benefit of the students, working in tandem with Soma, without even Soma's realizing it, And then, of course, you have the wild card factor that is Rindo still. It's still interesting. She hasn't challenged, Azami outwardly. She is calling into question why he decided then to drop Ishiki and Kuga, and there's like a third guy that he dropped out of the Elite 10. They've been dismissed. Making room for other members and things like that. And Rindo is still sort of challenging it, but still going along with it. So she is a wild card. I feel like somewhere down the line, she is going to play into some sort of anti-Central thing. Maybe. That's the vibe I get from her. I feel like her loyalties do not lie with Central. I don't think she has loyalties. I think she's just sort of scatterbrained, and she's just, she's an opportunist, and wherever she gets the most delight playing around with people or challenging them or messing about with them is where she'll stay. And for the time being, she's getting the most satisfaction out of messing with Totsuki Academy on whole by being part of this whole plan that Azami has concocted with Central. But I feel like she's wild card enough. She's shown enough interest in Soma and things of that sort. She took enough pleasure out of Aizen having his ass handed to him that maybe somewhere down the line, kind of like what we had with Nikumi, in the beginning, and a little bit of Rina and everything like that, they start off as these really villainous, antagonistic characters, but then they warm to our heroes, and now Rina's part of the group. Now Nikumi is part of the group, or at least respectfully so, at arm's length, but still sort of, supportive of Soma, and she believes in him where she didn't like him at first and everything like that. These antagonistic characters warm to our heroes and sort of become part of that group. Maybe that's where Orindo's going. Maybe it's a red herring, and you're made to, assume that, speculate to that point. But then she will be a villain, very big and bad and bold later on down the line, even more so than we at first would have assumed. I don't know, but I mean, this was just another dope episode following on from the heroism, the awesome sauce, Soma wiping the floor with Aizen in the previous episode, and Ishiki being, again, 3 steps ahead of the game of Aizen, of Azami, of Central, of Soma himself, and just having no holds barred respect for what Soma was capable of, to be able to answer to, formulating this documentation, these rules and regulations that now Central has to follow, so they don't have as easy a time just saying, you're out, or else. And I loved it. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 9 of Shokugeki no Soma San no Sero, or the third plate if you've seen it as well. If you thought it was just as awesome as I did, love it or hate it, anything goes in the comments below. As always, it's all about the topic of talk and having a great conversation about awesome sauce anime like Shokugeki no Soma. And for my part, that's exactly what it is. This was dope sauce. In effect, Ishiki was the man in this episode, answering to Soma's being the man in the previous. Soma's the man anyway. But the way Ishiki, took these guys to task in print is just awesome. So yeah, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. I'll catch you all later. Peace.